And we know that nothing can exist without the sun. So why is it that in the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 11, it says that God created the trees, the herbs, the grass? These are living organisms. This is what we need in order to breathe oxygen, right? But how we are supposed to breathe oxygen, how our plant or any life form is to have oxygen in order to strive if there's no sun created yet? Because God doesn't create the sun until the 16th verse. That's right. How can you have trees, herbs, plants without no sun? Because when you get into the 16th verse, it said that he made two major lights. One sun, one moon, to tell you about the day and the night and the seasons and the stars and all of that. The stars that is mentioned in verse 14 and 15, that's not the sun and the moon. Those are just stars that we see in the universe. And God created the heavens and the earth. God did not create hell. Oh, there's nowhere in the Bible that you can see where God created hell. In fact, if you think I'm lying, maybe you'll believe the white man, okay? Because Pope Francis said that there is no hell according to Catholic school of thought. And the Pope is who? The Pope is supposed to be the Jesus on earth according to the Catholics. Well, that's a whole nother story. We don't want to get off into them. That's a whole nother story. But God himself did not create hell. Think about that. There's no place in that Bible out of those 66 books, and that's just the ones that they left in before the Council of Nicaea 325 AD. God never mentions anything about hell. But you say that there's a hell. But God never said anything about it. According to your own book, My Christian Family, I'm just saying. This is Black History Month. And why am I targeting my Christian brothers and sisters once again? If you free your mind, maybe you can free yourself. And you can truly be free. And you can truly be free. Because if the truth shall set you free, obviously you're not free, so you have not been told the truth. I'm just saying. Anyway, so yeah, how can you have life without sun? Well, he doesn't create the sun until after he creates the plants. That's pretty dumb to me. And it should be dumb to you, seeing that God is all perfect. And God is not perfect. As I explained to you, he has an evil side himself, because as I told you in the last video, the evil spirit of God in your book rested upon Saul, and that's in the first book of Samuel, chapter 16, verse 23. And not only that, God kills millions in the Bible, and the devil only kills 10. And that's in the book of Job. That's in the book of Job. Other than that, you don't see Satan, the dragon, the serpent, the deceiver, the liar. He doesn't kill anyone else. He kills 10 people. But God kills millions. Think about that. I'm just saying. Anyway, chapter 1 of Genesis, verse 26, God said, let us make man. Let us. Who is the us? Who is the us? According to the Nation of Islam, they say that this us is the angels. Okay? According to Christians, they say that the us is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's just like when you go to the Catholic Church and you go to confessions, right? When you go to confessions, there's somebody on the other side of that booth that you're sitting in talking for God, right? Talking for God. Not God talking for himself, but someone else talking for God. And the same is in this instance. Someone else is telling you who that us is, but God ain't telling you. And according to another place or another school of thought, they're telling you something else. According to another school of thought, they're telling you something else. According to another school of thought, they're telling you something else. You understand? Don't think for yourself, someone else will think for you. And when someone else thinks for you, it's just like someone else counting your money. You will always come up short. Real talk. I'm just saying. Now, God finally creates this Adam. Excuse me. No, not Adam. God finally creates this man, but after he has the conversation with whomever he's talking to in regard to let us make man, he finally makes man by himself. Now, you have this guy that God creates after he's had this conversation with whomever he's talking to. And he finally creates man by himself. He creates man by himself, don't need no help. Okay, created everything by himself. Which leads me to another question for later, but I said for now, just in case I forget, why would he need a woman to make his son? Anyway, because he created the first man without any of that. As you go further down into the chapter, right, it says that he creates a garden. And in this garden, you have the heads of the garden, which tells you where the Garden of Eden is located. You have the Pison, the Gihon, the Hiddekel, and the Euphrates. And when you look at these rivers that flow into this garden, it's actually a continent, and that continent is Al-Kubalan, aka Africa. You can take it or you can leave it. Do your research. Truth does not have to be verified by ignorance, as in the words of the late Day Gregory. So now that he creates this garden, he hasn't created no rain, no nothing yet. But he finds that he has no man to till his garden. Now, what sense does that make? That's chapter 2. That's chapter 2. He created, he said to somebody, let us create man. And then he created this man of his own by breathing his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding into this man, into his nostrils, and gave him life. And then further along down in the second chapter, you tell me that he makes this garden, but he doesn't have a man to till it? Yeah. And that's in Genesis chapter 2, verse 5. After he created man in verse 126. Think about that. What sense is that making? I'm just asking you all to read. And you think about how stupid he was to make some trees and plant, throw it out in the sun. And that, once again, starts in Genesis chapter 1, verse 11, all the way through verse 16. Read it for yourself. Genesis chapter 3, all of this time, God has never called this man that he created any name. Now, God even gave in chapter 1, God placed the whales. The whales. Now remember, the whales is important because God made whales. Okay, God made whales and every living thing that creepeth and crawleth in the sea. The animals and the fishes were here before we were. You got that? Did you get that? But further along down the line, after Adam called his wife Eve, God says that she's the mother of all living things. Huh? Are you hearing me?